EVP said, I hate you. And I'm thinking about going ahead and doing some more screenshots on me to show people that that's not me doing the EVP sound. Oh my f***ing God!
I wanted to get into this sort of area because it's an interesting one, and it's one that I'm not a big believer of ghosts. I've never had an experience, but I can't say that there's no such thing. Which is why I want to talk to as many people as I can about it to learn a bit more about it.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
Unfortunately, a lot of people are just very quick to dismiss everything and not give it a fair chance.
Well, if you don't know what to think about, you have to have your own experience in order to really, understand it. Because it's ghost hauntings is not anything I would have thought they were. I mean, I based my thoughts on ghost haunting based on TV shows, movies, stuff that
Yeah,
different opinions like Poltergeist, stuff like that.
yeah. All things made for entertainment.
Yeah, and it's nothing even close to that. Yes, there's apparitions. Yes, they do talk, but I think that, even on some paranormal shows on YouTube or even on the Travel Channel, I think a lot of the stuff is way over exaggerated.
Mm.
And I think that they try to focus on stuff that is debatable whether it's paranormal related or not. But it's mostly them talking than actual strange sounds, movement of things, objects, apparitions appearing in front of you. I mean, that does happen, but it's rare. I mean, it's not something that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Now, if I recorded day and night around this house, I would pick up a lot more apparitions and pick up a lot more movement, but like I did in the beginning, but I don't record as much in this house like I did in the beginning. I maybe record well, here lately over the summer, I don't even think I recorded in 1 hour a week. The last video I posted of the lamb house was stuff that was already recorded, but I think that the last time I ever did the investigation here is the investigation of the lady in white. And, I do record stuff, but like if there's something's happening, I'll turn my recorder on but I don't capture nothing. And I'm like, well, okay. It's almost like they knew I turned the recorder on, now they're not going to do anything.
Yeah, once the experience has happened, as soon as you turn that camera on, the experience is finished.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's a difficult one. Unless you have your camera on 24/7, it's going to be difficult to catch something.
Yeah, but then you got to sit there and watch it. And watch and watch hours worth of stuff before you capture anything. A lot of people want me to set up cameras around this house and just let it run day and night. I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
No. Well, there's no real, there's no real need. I mean, I suppose this is why a lot of the footage comes from security cameras and things like that.
Yeah.
Problem is you don't have sound with most of those because they do run 24/7. We've got them up round here, but unfortunately no ghosts here. Reasonably new house.
Yeah.
Nothing quite as exciting.
So you say right now you don't believe in ghosts?
Well, I've never had an experience to make me to convince me that they exist, but I'm certainly not closed to the fact that they may or certainly do.
Right.
I'd, I lean more towards the belief that they do, but that I can't concrete that without personal experience.
Right.
You know, because I've always been very scientific minded from since I was born. You know, it's just I was brought up in that way, so it's difficult because I always like to have objective evidence of something to believe it, but I never close myself off to any possibility.
Right. Well, there's a lot of people that way. I mean, I was basically the same way. I mean, of course, after I started doing investigations and started experiencing it a lot, then, I mean, I have absolutely no doubt this is real, but that's my experience.
Mm.
I mean, unless you're here, I mean, what you see in the videos is nothing compared to what it's like in real time.
No, absolutely not.
Because I don't explain what I'm feeling at that moment. I don't always explain that something just touched me because you're not there to feel it. You're not there to see it. There's times I've even seen, an apparition appear and disappear really fast while I'm recording, but the camera wasn't on, and I don't even mention it. There's no point because
it's just a claim. Yeah.
I mean, I try to make the videos, everything I experience, I try to have you guys experience, but when you start hearing disembodied voices and you feel electricity tingling around your hands and your face, I mean, that's pretty amazing, but unfortunately the viewers aren't there to experience that, so there's no point in even mentioning it.
Is it similar to like the experience of being close to static electricity?
What's that?
That sort of thing. The feeling of having electricity or whatever around your hands and your arms or whatever, is that sort of similar to when you feel static electricity?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, it's static. It's like you can feel like, okay, sometimes it feels like, how you reverse a magnet and you try to put them up to each other and it's pushing away?
Yeah.
Sometimes you actually feel that on your body. It's not like a heavy feeling like it's pushing you, but you do feel it like, especially when paranormal activity gets really strong, it feels like your body's a magnet, but there's a reverse magnet in front of you, lightly trying to push you and move you, and you can end up even having muscle spasms, string spasms, then your ears can start making these loud humming noises. I mean, it's like there's an energy around you and you can feel it, and it's there. And then when you start picking up the disembodied voices, then that's confirmation that, I mean, there's definitely something here. But as far as stuff where scratches and stuff like that's never happened to me. I think the worst thing that happened to me recently was a window trim I put back up on the top of the stairways popped loose. After I pulled that apart to see what was behind that. And then, like a month later, that thing popped loose right in front of me and smacked me right in the face as I was going down the steps. That's the worst thing that ever happened to me. Second worst, I got slapped in the face at Mount Hope Cemetery. But, I mean, as much paranormal activity I've been around, the odds of getting attacked is extremely slim. And you see some of these paranormal investigators, every episode they're in, they're getting pushed, knocked down, some kind of strange attack, and I'm like, you know what, bullshit.
Yeah, you always got to be extra skeptical of these television shows and a lot of the YouTube shows out there, because you can tell they're mainly entertainment based, especially with those like with titles with "gone wrong" in them or something like that. I always start to think, be on guard here, because something's gonna be amiss.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say that because spirits are on kind of a different, if you want to use the term dimension or whatever, that they can't interact with physical reality. But from what I've seen, that's not quite accurate.
They can, but once again, that's very rare. I mean, it's almost like they bleed through, like there's a tear between us and their dimension. It's like they can bleed through and then they quickly go back, or, I don't even really have the words to explain it, but they can like bleed through into our dimension. You can see them, you can hear them, and they bleed back. But for the most part, it's more of an audio than it is a visual. Now, there's times my cameras picked up apparitions and I didn't even see it with my own eyes. You know, I don't know if because maybe my camera, you know, it is, you know, receiving some type of signals differently than my eyes are. But,
yeah,
you know, I mean, there's times that there's been stuff right there and I never even saw it.
Until you look back over the footage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the female apparition in the haunted forest. I never saw her. I wasn't paying attention, though, either, but, you know, I was pretty shocked when I went back and looked at the video and saw her kneeling down there in the forest. I'm like, what the hell? And I had to take a screenshot and zoom in on that. I'm like, that's an apparition. Because
You've got to obviously, yeah.
Had I seen her, I would have taken the camera and walked right up to her.
I suppose, you know, you've always got to look first and make sure it's definitely not, you know, a weirdly shaped tree or a rock or something. Because obviously, you know, there are some strange things out there and people will jump on that conclusion, oh, it's just a rock, it's just your brain putting patterns together, blah, blah, blah. You hear that a lot. Yeah,
well, I tried to debunk that. I went back there again that day when I saw that. I went back there that evening. The weather pattern is exactly the same. I went back there at the exact same time, set the camera in the exact position, you know, and I sat there and waited, and many times I've gone back there before, never caught her again. But I looked at everything closely. I'm like, that's definitely not a rock, obviously, because there's no rock sitting there that's tall. It's definitely not a tree because there was a kind of a bush there, but it was off to the side. You know, but it was like she was two-dimensional, not three-dimensional. So I don't know. That's pretty weird.
Yeah. But, you know, that's the sort of thing you got to do, you know, that sort of investigation. You see something weird, so you go back and make sure it's not there initially. That's what a lot of people don't seem to do, which is good because that just validates the thing, doesn't it? So I heard a lot. I was watching back a lot of your videos from the Lamb House specifically, and there's a lot of disembodied voices that come through.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing they're not on the camera as such. Like, it's not interference on your camera or your spirit box or whatever. That is actually kind of from the air itself.
Well, the disembodied voices are actual audible voices when you don't use a spirit box. And when I put up disembodied voice, I used disembodied voice because I heard it at the time when I was recording. You know, or I'll just, if I don't say disembodied voice, you know, I didn't hear it, but the camera picked it up, which would be considered an EVP.
Yeah.
You know, the frequency was so low that my hearing didn't pick it up. But I've heard disembodied voices so loud, it was like some human standing in the house talking.
There's a lot of, you get a lot of off Kents, don't you?
Yeah.
And they're usually the loudest.
Not as much in the Lamb House as I used to. I think in the beginning I was pissing them off. You know, because seriously, I was treating them like circus animals. You know, always trying to get them to nod. So I was doing all kinds of experiments on them. And I think I really pissed some of them off.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah, and after I stopped doing that, I didn't hear it as much. Now, back when David was part of it, they told him to f*** off a lot all the way to the end. I mean, they didn't like him. You know, but there again, I kept telling him, don't treat him like circus animals. Maybe they'll talk to you. But he was so eager to get them to do something in front of him that, you know, instead they tell him to f*** off or shut up or something.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I say understandably because these are, you know, from what we understand, these are human beings, so you can't expect to, you know, treat them like, as you say, like circus animals and have them be okay with it. Unless they're at a certain level of spirituality or whatever where they can, you know, it doesn't bother them.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, the especially the off Kents were incredibly, you know, when I was watching, I was surprised at how clear they actually were, as if, as you say, someone was right behind you shouting that. And I must admit, my first thought was, that sounds like it's been edited over. You know, I suppose that's just the way my mind works. But, you know, you seemed so genuine about it that I couldn't doubt.
Well, are you familiar with Windows Movie Maker 2011?
I know the older versions of Movie Maker back in my younger days of YouTube, which didn't work out very well.
Okay, that's what I use. is Windows Essential Movie Maker 2011. Now, with that, there's no voice overlay. You can't do it. You know, they're the only I can put music on, but you know, I'm not a big computer IT tech, so I have no idea. You know, I wanted to do my own music and then convert it to, you know, music and put it on the videos, but I don't even know how to do that. You know, I went on YouTube trying to figure out how do I make music and convert it, you know, so I can use my own music for these videos. I never could figure it out. Nobody ever showed me. So I'm like, well, screw it. But yeah, I mean, there's no way. And another thing, when it's like doing a spirit box session, even if somebody wanted to sit there and fake that and do a voice overlay, that would be so much work. I mean, because a lot of people pick up stuff that I've missed, and they have no doubt, yeah, this is definitely real because he's not even pointing this stuff out. You know, but you know, I've had a lot of people mention that.
It's strange to me. If something happens and you don't pick it out, that adds authenticity to me. Because you'd have thought if you're in it for just the views or whatever, you're going to point out every little thing that you do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so much stuff I miss, and to be honest with you, I don't have time to sit there and put every tiny little detail in the videos because there's so much of it. I'm working on the farmhouse video right now because I went back to the old farmhouse again. And, you know, that's 4 hours of an investigation, 7 cameras, 28 hours of video to go over. And
that's a lot of work.
There's some good stuff in it, but I'm not going to use it because I got to shorten the video down.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just using, you know, bits and pieces. And there's a lot of stuff. I still capture apparitions up to this day. I don't even put them in the videos for the most part. You know, and the reason why I don't is because one of the main reasons why I don't is because people will just say, oh, you know what? It's not possible to catch that many apparitions. This has got to be fake, you know, so I don't bother putting it in. You know, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Just people won't believe this, you know, and, you know, so I decided to go ahead and just change this to doing investigations and so showing the paranormal evidence, and that's it. I mean, and I do the history, trying to explain why this place is haunted, or any place I go to, just try to get a history of it and determine why there's spirits there. You know, and leave it at that. It's not everybody wants to see Shadow Dude. Everybody wants to see the shadow apparitions, but that's not what this is about.
I don't doubt if I was in somewhere that was known to be haunted and I heard something, I'd be, you know, survival would take over. I'd be out of there.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty heavy duty at first, but once you know you're not going to get attacked, and once you know that, you know, this is mostly visual and audio that you see and hear, and there is some physical feelings you get from it, but for the most part, as long as you know you're not getting attacked, it's not that bad. And it's like I hear disembodied voices every day, and to you know, for me to hear that, that'd be like somebody hearing the cat meowing.
Yeah, because you've lived with it for so long. Exactly.
I mean, I'm so conditioned to hearing it now. I mean, there's times I'd walk like through the dining room, I'd hear, hey, Kent, and I'd answer back, hey, how's it going? And then just keep walking. I don't even stop talking.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's like, you know, it's like young kids and thunder. You know, the first time they hear thunder, they're absolutely scared out of their wits, thinking the world's ending. But after 5 or 6 thunderstorms, they become accustomed to it, and it becomes just natural.
It's just something you get used to. I mean, people say, I don't see how Ken would even stay in that house. I mean, it's not, you know, I mean, I know it probably looks really scary in the videos, especially when the shadow apparitions are around. Yeah, that is scary. That's pretty damn startling. And when I first started this, that scared the living crap out of me.
Yeah. I remember one of your videos when you turned and saw him and oh, fuck, I'm out of there. That's exactly what I would have done.
I was walking up the steps, and this is the one that the Travel Channel is going to use in ghost hauntings, where I walked into the room and came around the corner of the camera, and there's an apparition standing right in front of me.
Yeah.
And I go, son of a bitch, you know, I mean.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What the hell is that noise? Son of a bitch! And what's bad, and this is what's really bad about this, is they always do that when you're not even thinking about it. It's the
when you least
expect it. And it's like, I don't know if they think they're freaking funny or they get a kick out of that or what, but every time I've ever ran into one, I wasn't even thinking about an apparition at that moment.
Perfect horror movie timing. Get the suspense up, but don't do anything. Then at the least time you least expect it, there he is. I mean, the shadow guy is one that really interested me. Especially there was I can't remember which video it was of yours that was in, but it was the shadow guy was in the window, and then he dives out and under the bed.
Yeah,
I mean either that was damn good professional editing, or there was definitely something there.
Well, like I said, I'm no IT guy.
Yeah. So I mean, how does he work? That guy. I mean, is he human, ex-human, I suppose, or is he demon, if people want to call it that? Or
you know what? To be honest with you, I don't 100% know. And it's kind of something that, I started investigating it, like I said, just not that long ago, and that's when that wood trim came flying out of the window and hit me in the face, in the mouth, and that's because I started asking questions. I said, what is the spirit that I call a shadow dude? Is he humanoid? Is he non-humanoid? I go, what is he? And then I heard a growl noise, a really strange growl sound coming over there on the other side of the bed by the window. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't like this. So I shut everything down. As I was walking down the steps, that wood trim flew right out the window and smacked me right in the mouth. And then later that night, my wife was going down the steps. I was behind her, and it did that again. It missed her, but it dropped right in front of her across the window sill and the rail and just like blocked her way with the nail sticking right towards her face.
And what was it? A wood trim?
Yeah, there's the window at the top of my steps has a piece of sheetrock in it, and they put trim around the edges to hold it in place.
Yeah, okay.
Well, that wood trim came flying out. And when I took all that apart and looked inside, I took the camera and videotaped what was behind that window is where they, built the gables up and covered the old roof that went to the kitchen. I made sure that was all put back in place tightly. I put all new nails in, made sure it was hammered nice and firm, but so that, when the cold comes, winter comes back, there's not going to be air coming through it.
Yeah.
And that's the trim piece that went flying out. I mean,
and it was like the force of being thrown. As opposed to like being blown off in a draft or whatever. It was a throw.
It made a swish noise when it hit me in the mouth.
Right. So it was a hell of a lot of force. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I had blood coming out of my mouth, blood out of my gums and my front teeth. And I ended up with a fat lip on that. Yeah. I mean, that. And so I decided, look, you know what? I don't need to stir the pot on investigating what this is because, that answered my question right there. There's just some things you leave alone.
Yeah.
There's just some things, there's just certain lines you don't cross. I mean, yes, if I wanted to push this, it could probably be real entertaining to viewers to watch and real scary, but I'm not in it for that.
No.
If they want to go do demonic investigations, I wish them all the luck, but I'm not getting into that.
No, it's not worth it. I mean, you see a lot of Ouija board videos, and equally a lot of people saying it's the idiometer effect where you're moving it subconsciously and all that, and you think it might be the case, but is it really worth risking it?
Exactly.
For the sake of it's bullshit, I can debunk this and it will be popular or whatever. Is it really worth that risk for something you don't understand how it works? I'd never touch one just for the sake of. It's just not worth it for my health.
Well, I know the Ouija board was invented by, satanic organizations that did that for rituals to open up portals. And, it's a ritual they design. And when people get these and buy them and practice that, they're actually practicing a ritual that these satanic cults even blessed it. Based on their beliefs to open up portals and, I mean, that's not worth playing around with. I mean, people ask me if I'd ever use one. I said, hell no.
No. Have you never tried one?
No, never will.
Do you think that these ones that they sell in the children's toy shops and all that, you can get them, can't you? Do you think they're just as effective as the traditional ritualized one? You think they are?
I think they are, but it's not the material itself, but it's the intent on using it.
Yeah.
It's your human spirit behind it and your intent on what you're doing with it, and that is the issue right there.
Yeah. So in theory, you could write out or draw out a Ouija board on a piece of paper with a stone, and if the intention is there,
it's what you're intending to do. And that's why I don't believe in mediums. I don't practice it because, I mean, a lot of people say, well, Kent's a medium. No, I'm not. I don't claim to be one. I don't claim to have any special abilities at all. None. I just do these investigations and that's it. I don't purposely go out conjuring up spirits. I only investigate what's already there.
That's right, yeah. I mean, a lot of spirits and everything like that seem to be very subtle in the sense that either they don't have enough energy or whatever, so you need someone with mediumistic skills whatever to bring them through. But if they're at the kind of the level that yours at the Lamb House seem to be, they seem to have that much energy that they can be physically shown, as opposed to having to come through a medium.
I know a lot of people believe this, in salt, sage, and all the kinds of different crystals and stuff like that. We're talking about our physical realm versus the spiritual realm, and nothing in our physical realm has an effect on them. There's no such thing as a holy water. You can get all the priests under the sun. They're not going to be effective unless they know exactly what they're doing and the words to say, because it all boils down to your words.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion on that sort of thing is, regardless of what it is, sage or holy water or whatever, at the end of the day, you break it all down, it's all molecules, which is physical. That doesn't interact with non-physical reality by definition.
No.
But, as with thoughts and, as you say, intentions, something that is non-physical in nature, that does have an influence. At least that's where I'm currently in understanding.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of people told me to pour salt around the house and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why? I mean, I just don't believe that's going to have an effect. I got salt in my kitchen and they're still knocking stuff off the counter.
They just don't give a crap about it. Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't have an effect on them. I've learned, well, I don't know if you believe in the Bible or not. I do.
I mean, I don't literally believe in it. Metaphorically, some of the things it says, rings true, but as a literal translation, not something I believe in.
Well, a good example that, all right, Jesus faced the devil himself when he was fasting 40 days and he was up in the wilderness. Mm-hmm. And that was before he started his ministry, and the devil came up to him and started tempting him, even trying to get him to commit suicide and all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And everywhere you see in the Bible when they encounter demonic spirits or evil spirits or demons, devils, never once did they use any material substance to rebuke them. It was all by words.
Yeah.
By
words and by love and by everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Jesus said back to the devil, I mean, it is written. He kept quoting scriptures, what was written in the Old Testament to rebuke him with. And that's what I do. I mean, I use words. I mean, because I know that, when you're dealing with the spiritual realm, they do not have authority or power over you. And nothing can make you do anything unless you allow it, because we have the power of choice, And people that say, well, somebody just all of a sudden got possessed. I'm like, yeah, bull crap. I said, somebody just doesn't get possessed. They had to done something to get possessed.
They have to be willful.
Exactly. They have to open up that door and allow it. Let me mention this about the shadow apparitions, because it gets more interesting. What you see on video is what you don't see in real time with your own eyes. The video captures them where they look a lot more dark, especially what's in the bedroom. But when I seen these with my own eyes, it was more like a gray mist, a dark gray mist. And you can't see any features or anything. It's almost like you have something in your eye and it's moving back and forth to your right, to your left, to your right of your eye really fast. And it's like your brain's not comprehending what you're seeing. That's what they look like in real time when you see them with your human eyes. I mean, but when you go back and watch it on the video camera, it's like, wow, it looks totally different.
Right.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. I try to explain that, but you know, it's almost like it's a dark mist that's moving, and then it just poof, it just vanishes right in front of you.
Hmm.
You know, and you can it has the shape of a person. You know, it takes a shape and a form, but it's just kind of strange how the recording device shows something totally different. The thing that came down out of the window, you know, when I saw that in day mirrors and it jumped out of the window, I said, there it is. And I saw that. When that came down out of the window, it looked like dark, not black, but dark, really dark gray smoke quickly came out of the window and went down behind the bed where I couldn't see it. There's another, I don't know if you've seen it, but I walked into the living room and there's a shadow kneeling down, and it stood up and ran towards the side behind the TV and disappeared. All right. I don't know if you ever saw that, but again, that was like a dark gray smoke that just all of a sudden, like it just blew away. And
so it becomes more defined once it's on tape.
Exactly. I mean, when your camera picks that up, it looks totally different. And I don't know how many times, and this is what's strange, how many times I've heard a female disembodied voice. No doubt in that moment it was definitely a female. I go back and listen to on the recording, on the audio, and it's a male voice. You know, and I'm thinking, well, I know I heard a female voice, and then sometimes it's the reverse. You hear a male voice, and then you go back and listen to your recording, it's a female voice. You know, so I have no explanation for that. There's no way I can even explain that.
Yeah, it seems peculiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Or when I hear a disembodied voice, I heard one thing, but back in the recording, something totally different.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, that's pretty strange. I mean, it just, you know, it's like the devices pick up. I don't know if the recording devices pick it up and interpret it better on what's going on in the moment or what. I mean, you know, it kind of makes you wonder, well, what's really going on? I mean, is what I'm seeing and what I hear, is that the real thing, or is what the recording device is picking up and what they capture, is that the real thing?
Yes. Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they could have two completely separate meanings, and then one would lead you down a different path to the other.
But yeah, I just wanted to mention that part, because it's just, I have no explanation why in real time it's different than what's captured on recording. And another thing that happens during investigations is, you know, I've gone on investigations and I'm thinking, well, you know what, I didn't get nothing. You know, this is just a complete waste of time. It's video I'll save, you know, for when I go back again. But when I go back and do the evidence, some of my best videos came from investigations like that, where I thought I captured absolutely nothing, but after listening to the recording, I captured a bunch of stuff I didn't realize I captured. You know, so I mean, it's kind of strange the way that works.
Yeah, I mean, do you find that the things that come up on the camera that you didn't hear sort of help put a story together, kind of, if you know what I mean?
Sorry, what was that?
So, if you were to hear something, say a disembodied voice, initially that didn't make much sense, but then you look back on the camera and hear other things, does that then kind of meld everything together? Has that ever happened?
Yeah, that happens. I mean, I'll hear something and, you know, it didn't make any sense. I'll go back and listen to it, and then it makes more sense. You know, I mean, that happens quite a bit. What's strange about doing the spirit box sessions, which I didn't believe in spirit boxes, to be honest with you, when I first started this. Excuse me. My son mailed me the PSB7 spirit box, and, you know, he is anxious for me to try it because he watched paranormal shows. I pretty much didn't. And so I started watching different shows on how to use it, and, you know, I'd turn it on, and most people ran it at 200 to 250. So I'd run it at 200 to 250, and I'm like, well, all I'm getting is radio chatter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this isn't even going to work. I mean, this is radio chatter. How can you prove that what you're getting off of this is paranormal?
As opposed to just random radio, yeah. Because don't spirit boxes just kind of rattle through radio stations very quickly?
They do.
Which the spirit is then supposed to be apparently able to decipher to come through to communicate. I'm not sure how they work.
This is my theory on it. All right. So I said 200, 250, forget it. I'm going to turn it all the way up to the fastest possible rotation. Mm-hmm. And if I capture anything, I'm going to know it's paranormal related and then I moved it up to 100 milliseconds, which is 1/10 of a second, which means if you get any radio chatter at all, it's going to be 1/10 of a second.
Right. Per channel, it's right.
Exactly. So I did that. I did that, and I turn on the spirit box and I go, hello, is anybody here? And then I said, can you say my name? And this female voice goes, hi, Kent. Mm-hmm. Perfectly. I mean, like, okay, there's no way that was radio chatter. And when I went back and listened to the recording, sure enough, the female voice said, hi, Kent. I mean, she perfectly said my name, Kent.
So for that to be kind of radio chatter, that means that, if you're doing every 10 milliseconds or whatever, that means what? There have to be 150 channels or so lined up perfectly to spell out that hi, Kent.
Exactly.
That'd be quite a coincidence.
Okay, so then I was thinking, all right, you know what? How can a spirit be speaking through this radio? I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. So I started studying EVPs, and I started studying, how an EVP is actually, electronic voice phenomenon, and and the reason why we can't hear it because it's at a low frequency, below 20 megahertz. And our cameras and our recording devices can capture anything below 20 megahertz, and that's why our devices pick them up. So I started studying sound waves, and I'm thinking, okay, well, is it the sound wave that's amplifying the EVP, and is that what the spirit box is doing? So I did tests. I turned on the TV really loud with the static. I did all kinds of different tests, and sure enough, I was capturing EVPs. Mm-hmm. I stuck my phone in front of the fan, and not directly in front of it, but I stuck it up close to the fan where it was making a wind noise, and I captured an EVP off the wind noise. It actually amplified it. So I'm like, okay, it's the sound waves that actually amplifies these EVPs where you can hear them. So, I started testing and studying the spirit box, and I started asking intelligent questions, and I determined that it's the static that's coming through that spirit box. The faster you play that, the louder you play that, the better you're going to be able to capture these EVPs. Mm-hmm. Because it's developing so much static sound waves, it's able to amplify these EVPs where you can hear them a lot better. Now, still, sometimes the human ear does not hear them. I mean, for the most part, when I do a spirit box session, I only hear maybe 10, 15, 20% of the session. When I go back and listen to the recording, I hear things that I didn't even come close to hearing during that session. Mm-hmm. It's like the recording device picked them up. It's either because it wasn't loud enough, or it just didn't come out clear enough to where my ears could hear what it said. But that's my theory on a spirit box. It's not an actual voice talking through the electronic device itself, but it's the electronic device that's causing the right perfect sound waves to amplify that EVP.
Right. So the communication's already there, but the sound waves created by the device is amplifying that kind of independently of the spirit box itself.
Exactly.
Right, I see.
And I believe when I tested that theory of using sound waves to amplify EVPs outside of the spirit box, and it does work. That's why there's times I'm walking down the steps. Let's just say the steps are making some weird noises from the house creaking. All right, some people say, well, all I heard is your floor is creaking. Well, when that floor is creaking, it's actually put out a sound wave, and I have picked up a number of EVPs. Mm-hmm. Cars driving, exactly. Cars driving by, at nighttime when they're driving by, all of a sudden you hear a voice in your recording, and because of the sound waves of that car, it's amplified the EVP. You didn't hear it with your human ears, but your recording device picked it up.
So effectively, if you were to carry anything around with you that creates enough sound, you could get an EVP from anything.
Well, I mean, as long as there's a real haunting. I mean, that you know.
Yeah, of course.
There.
Yeah.
Now, I've been on investigations where I got absolutely nothing. I've been in the land house doing investigations and got absolutely nothing during a spirit box session. Nothing at all. Nothing even worth making a video on. I mean, the land house is mostly active. Fridays and Sundays are the most active periods. I don't know why. I don't have any answer for that, but that's when this house is most active. It's active every single day, but if you're going to do an investigation here, Fridays or Sundays are the best time to do it.
I wonder if during the lives of whoever they were, whether those days had something traumatic happen on them and they're just drawn to that every Friday and Sunday or something like that.
Possibly. Maybe Fridays are excited because the weekend was up and, you know, people's spirits were higher. Sundays, you know, they knew they had to go back to school or work and their spirits were down. I don't know.
Maybe it was even the day they died and their funeral or something like that.
Yeah. You know, I have no idea. You know, another thing that, oh, geez, I was going to say something else that was a good point. Can't remember what it was. Oh, another thing that is kind of a myth is, you know, doing investigations only at nighttime.
Yeah, I often wondered about that because surely wouldn't spirits be around regardless of whether it's dark or not?
They are.
I would have thought.
They are. You can have the bedroom lights on. I mean, as you can see, I hardly do any investigations in total dark. You know, and some of my best evidence I've ever captured was in broad daylight. You know,
such as the apparition of the kneeling woman.
Pardon me? Yeah.
Such as the apparition, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's broad daylight. I mean, it doesn't, in fact, it seems like it's more active in the daytime than at night. I don't know, maybe because I set the rule up in my house and told these ghosts, hey, you know what, when it gets nighttime, I'm going to sleep. Can you please be quiet? You know, because this house was noisy at night when I first started all this, and I had to sit, I've said it night after night after night, and I kind of put that to the test in one of the videos when I pretend I was going to sleep. I don't know if you've seen that video. And I had the ghost box going, and when I was laying there in bed, they weren't saying nothing. I mean, it was totally quiet. And then I said, yeah, and I said, are you guys here? And then that voice over the ghost box goes, I thought you were sleeping.
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
Yeah, I mean, that pretty much blew my mind when I heard that. I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, that's when you know this is real. I mean, you have no doubt this is absolutely real when you face stuff like that. And when I said, good night, Rachel, and she answered back, good night, I mean, that was just totally mind-blowing.
Amazing. Yeah, and it also shows you that these spirits aren't necessarily always evil, that they do respect your wishes. Yeah.
Well, for the most part, they're not. They're not evil. I mean, you know, and, you know, yes, I do come across the farmhouse investigation that I'm working, the video I'm working on now. I did come across something evil in the cellar, but, you know, I mean, there are evil spirits there. They're around. What people don't realize is that non-humanoid spirits are really not going to reveal themselves to you. You know, for the most part, they work in secret through deceptions. You know, I mean, yes, they can appear as a ghost. They can mimic a ghost. They can mimic somebody. I agree with that. That is true. But for the most part, they pretty much lay dormant and don't want their presence to be known.
What do you think they're doing exactly in this realm? If you want to call
I believe they work through a lot of living people. I mean, think about it. I mean, Jim Jones, for instance. I don't know if you know who he is, but back in 1978, he had his church congregation commit mass suicide.
Yes, I can't remember what they called it.
That is definitely evil. All right, you know, there's people that can be used by demonic spirits without them even knowing it. That's deceived by them, and unfortunately, most of these evil spirits work through religions.
Yeah.
They do. I mean, I'm not saying all religions are bad. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm.
However, and I know you don't believe in the Bible, but you know, even the Bible warned about that doctrines of devils. I mean, that, and it warned of people, you know, creating doctrines that were, basically from hell.
Hmm.
And what they do is these spirits work through the living and they deceive others. They
Hmm.
use them to deceive people. Mass school shootings, for instance. I mean, come on. Nobody in their right mind is going to take a gun and walk into a school and just shoot people for the hell of it.
No. I think
All
you'd
right.
have to. I mean, the only reason you do that is if you were extremely mentally unstable for whatever reason.
Exactly. Exactly. We're talking about demonic forces behind that.
Hmm.
All right. That's just something that's not normal. A lot of suicides, is pretty much demonic related, especially in younger people.
Do you think that's similar for all suicides, or many, or some?
I would say many, but
Many.
I think that what happens is that other people are used to break somebody's spirit down so much that they don't want to live anymore.
Yeah.
Bullying on children. I mean,
Yes.
if a kid's being bullied by other kids in school to the point they commit suicide, those kids that are bullying that kid is more than likely being influenced by evil spirits to do it.
Hmm. What do you think? What's the purpose of these spirits doing this then?
Well, they want to collect souls.
For their
Any
own.
soul that can die an agonizing, horrifying death, such as
Mhm.
suicide or any other type of death, it's like they thrive on that, just like some of them thrive on fear.
Mm.
But as many souls as they can get that into the realm there, that's what they do.
Mm.
It's like having a trophy. It's like a freaking hunter going out hunting animal and they got a trophy to
Mm.
hang on their wall.
So it's just their nature of what they do.
Exactly. That's what I refer to as oppression. And that's oppression is what causes a lot of mental health issues. Um, keep in mind, I've studied psychology. I have an associate's degree in psychology. When
Mm.
I was a paramedic, I had to get that degree in order to have a degree in paramedic. It's okay. So that's kind of what it is. These spirits treat humans like lab rats. You know
Mm.
how you study that psychology, that if you give somebody attention, you want them to do something. So you give them attention little
Hmm.
by little to get them to do what you want them to do. If they're not doing what you want them to do, you don't give them any attention at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
own that paranormal stimuli. Yeah, you're training their minds without them even knowing it to do something. Well, that's the same way these spirits work. All right, it's called oppression, and they do things and create things around somebody's life that it's kind of like guiding them and directing them in a direction they want them. And that's what I'm talking about, deceptions. These evil spirits work through deceptions. They work in secret,
Mm.
and they work through humans that don't even know they're being used. And suicide is one of the factors that is mainly caused by oppression, that somebody finally had enough, they can't take it anymore, and they give up and they lose.
Mm.
They don't know how to battle that oppression. They don't know how to take control of their own thoughts and, get control of the situation themselves. I mean,
Mm.
it's like I said in a post on the group page, you can't stop a bird from flying over your head, but you can stop it from building a nest on the top of your head, which means you can't help the thoughts that goes through your mind, but you
Mm.
can stop them from nesting there and growing.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to take control of your thoughts, and that's why dealing with this paranormal activity, I have to do that all the time.
Yes.
I
For
have to
sure.
be careful
Mm.
and get my control of my own thoughts on it. Another good thing is paranoid schizophrenics. How many people said, well, I heard these voices that told me to do it. These voices
Mm.
told me to kill this person. These demons are telling me to go out and commit this school shooting. The kid that's in the Florida shooting said that he heard voices that made him do it.
Yeah.
And I do believe they are actually hearing voices.
As
You
opposed to
know,
just mental constructs.
they
Yeah.
want to say, well, that's paranoid schizophrenic, but you know what? I believe that they are actually hearing voices. I think their brains are in tune to hear these spirits.
So do you think the spirits talk to them as if, like, physically, as if someone was there, or do you think they can influence the thoughts to make them think in this certain way or hear things inside their own minds?
I believe that. I believe it's possible. It's called suggestive thinking. All right, and my if you watch a number of my videos, like during a spirit box session, a name will come up, and this is a good example. My son was with me doing a spirit box session, and the male voice said Anna. Nobody heard the name Anna. I didn't hear it. My son didn't hear it. Nobody in the room heard the name Anna. Right after that, like 3 seconds after that voice said Anna, my son said, "Hey, can you tell me about Anna?" And when I viewed that evidence, I said, "Hey, did you hear that voice say Anna?" And he goes, "No." I said, "Well, and that happens a lot where I will hear something. I mean, I don't hear it, but the recording captures something was said. I didn't hear it in real time, but yet I'm asking questions based
About
on,
it. Right.
yeah, on
Yeah.
something that
So
I
it's
didn't even hear. And that's what I refer to as suggestive thinking.
yeah. So it's almost as if the spirits are kind of recalibrating your mind to have these thoughts so that you address them.
Exactly. They are putting the thoughts there, even though I consciously don't hear it, I subconsciously hear it and I react. And that's kind of scary. I mean,
It is. Yeah. It kind of defeats the object of free will almost, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, that's why you got to control your thoughts. That's exactly why you have to stay in control of your thoughts, especially when you're dealing with paranormal, because if somebody's weak-minded and they can't control their feelings or control the thoughts going through their head, they have no business being involved with paranormal.
No, and something that can seriously influence their own thoughts, which then they have no control over and so can't do anything about.
Exactly.
And this is why you think many people commit suicide as a result.
I believe in a lot of cases that is the case due to oppression, and a lot of it has to do with demonic forces. But like I said, there are demonic forces that can work through people that can make somebody's life a living hell. So yeah,
that's why I have to be so careful dealing with this kind of field of study.
Exactly. And there's no doubts there are spirits that do thrive on fear. I mean, absolutely no doubt. And that's why, I don't know, I noticed a lot of people have been saying to me, well, I want to get involved with paranormal investigations. Your videos really encourage me. And I really don't suggest people getting involved with this stuff unless they have a very, very strong will, stubborn like I am. I'm a very stubborn person. I have a strong will, but I have a lot of years of experience behind me too, dealing with a lot of things. When I was a paramedic, I've seen a lot of death.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. There's going to be a Harley going by. He's probably going to grab it up. Some of the stuff that I've seen in my lifetime, murders and horrific things, I mean, horrible things, you have to learn to deal with your feelings on those. To be honest with you, when I was a student, to become a paramedic, I remember that we were going on our first code blue, and I really wanted to jump out of the back of that ambulance. I wanted to run. And, I'm like, well, I don't know if I should, get involved with this. I mean, maybe this isn't a career for me, but, no matter what, I did go all the way through with it. I did, work as a paramedic for quite a while and seen a lot of stuff, but it's something you don't get used to. When you see a person laying in front of you that have multiple gunshot wounds and it's a homicide, you go home that night and you can have flashbacks of that and you have to deal with that. I mean, you have to, pretty much deal with your feelings on it. You have to shut it out of your thoughts. You have to shut it out of your mind and move on. And
not an easy thing to do.
No. And when you're dealing with very, very powerful paranormal activity, you go through the same thing. You have to deal with it. I mean, you have to reach a point where you shut it out. Because if you don't, it'll get the best of you. And I'm talking about some serious depression. It's not
Yeah.
it's not a good thing when you're standing there and you're hearing all these voices crying for help, and there's nothing you
No.
can do about
Nothing
it.
you can
Nothing.
do. Yeah. Because your human instinct takes over. You want to help these people. It's like if you see a deer lying on the side of the road dying, the
Yeah,
instinct is to go and help. It's the same with the spirits, but as you say, knowing that there's absolutely nothing you can do must
yeah,
be tough.
yeah. Some of them you can help. I mean, some of them are just stuck because not stuck, but just kind of don't want to move on because they died unexpectedly and suddenly, and they want to tell somebody what happened. They want to let somebody know, look, I got to let you know this is what happened. I mean, nobody knows it, but what really happened to me. Like
Mm,
Rachel, for instance. Everybody assumed she committed suicide, but she wanted everybody to know that's not what happened.
mm,
Cass Roberts on Dead Man's Curve, excuse me, that was written off as a suicide. The two girls committed suicide. The two girls were lovers, and that's not what happened. That wasn't even
mm.
true. I mean, Cass Roberts said what she had to say. That they didn't commit suicide. They were ran off the road that night. They died.
Right.
This is on Dead Man's Curve,
Mm,
the very first one, and she got to say goodbye to her mother. She got to say the final words, and she moved on.
mm. Good. So yeah. So let's go on to the final question I wanted to ask. I always like to look on this because that's the whole point of seeking I exist in the first place. What has your experiences kind of taught you about our experiences after death?
Well, really, to be honest with you, that's still a mystery to me.
Mm.
Um,
Because clearly your experiences are now kind of proven to you personally that the spirit world does
it
exist.
does exist, but
And yeah.
what's going on the other side? I have my opinion on it based on the
Hmm.
evidence that I've captured. I believe that there are different type realms that human spirits go to when they die.
Hmm.
Do you believe that there is a dark, cold realm that people go to if they're extremely evil in their heart? And
Hmm.
it's kind of like a hell if you I mean,
Mm.
I don't know how other way to put it. I mean, they are stuck. They say it's dark and it's cold, and I don't believe I can help those type of spirits.
Mm.
And then there are spirits that are as happy as they can be. They laugh, they joke around, they act like they're alive and everything's good.
Mm.
They don't ask for help. Never. I mean, they just come and talk. And one of the investigations, for instance, I went down and sat on the couch because my knee was bothering me. And the spirit goes, "Where's Kent?" And then the other spirit answers back, "He's on the couch." I mean, they're not sitting there begging for help. They're just chatting.
Yeah.
You know, how that's possible, where they're at, I have no idea.
So it's almost as like they're where they need to be, but they're having fleeting visits here and there just to check up on something.
Yeah, it's like they're just wandering around, waiting for
Mm.
whatever. I mean, I've asked these spirits, what are you doing? And then some said they're waiting. Some said nothing, and then some of them joke around.
Mm.
In one of the investigations that during the spirit box session, that spirit goes, boom, ow, I broke my toe. I mean, he was making fun of me because the night before I stubbed my toe really hard dancing around and my wife's laughing at me.
Right.
That next night, I'm doing that paranormal investigation. And there's a spirit just laughing at me about it. Or the investigation where I walk out of the room and the spirit goes, "Hey, kick the light." And then
Yeah.
it's quiet and they go, "Oh, you missed." I mean, seriously?
Well, it's nice to know that we at least keep our sense of humour when we die.
Yeah. I mean, so I have no idea what's going on over on that other side. I do know
Mm.
that there's a dark side. I do know that there's a place of peace, and I do know that there's a place of in between. And I think that
Mm.
place of in between is where you get most of your hauntings.
Yeah. Where there may be it could be, I suppose, where they've moved from the negative kind of darker side into, I suppose you call it a limbo,
Yeah,
or where they've died and are stuck in that kind of level waiting to go on.
right.
Maybe if they're attached to something emotionally.
Yeah,
Because you hear about that a lot in things like out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences,
yeah.
meditations, it's all about attachments.
I think for the most part, most of your hauntings come from people who died that were not ready to go. They did not want to die. They weren't ready to let go of life. I mean, I've seen stuff here like, okay, there's a murder-suicide here in Carmel. I have the people's names, and, I can understand why it was a murder-suicide. I mean, she was dying of cancer. She was on her deathbed. She's going to go anytime. They already lost a son that died. They have no kids left. He didn't want to go on without her. They decided that, it's just time to go. I mean, he shot her when he pulled the gun on himself and shot himself.
Right.
I know their names, but not once have I ever heard from them, ever. I mean, my question is, were they ready to go?
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are some cases that suicide isn't brought on by dark forces. It's somebody that's ready to go. They're ready to let go. They're dying. They're suffering. Now, I'm not for assisted suicide. Don't get me wrong. I disagree with that, but I can understand somebody's frame of mind where they don't want to live anymore and their life's over. They're going to die no matter what. And they don't want to go through all that suffering by doing so.
That's right.
And they end up taking their life. Now, I think in a case like that, it's interesting because I thought, well, when I first started these investigations, I'm like, I wonder if I'll hear their names. Now, I didn't call their names out ever. I don't purposely go out and call somebody's name out because then I'm practicing being a medium and spiritualist.
Yeah.
If
Wait
I
for them
hear
to
a
respond
name,
to you.
yeah, if I hear a name during an investigation, I will investigate to figure out who that name is, who that person is. Like Rachel, for instance. I never knew anything about a Rachel. The name was brought up, so I started investigating the name Rachel. It kept coming up a lot, and it kept leading me down a path, and all of a sudden everything started unfolding and the story was coming together. But I think that people that are ready to go and they want to go and they've already lived out their life and they're done with it, I don't think those are the type of people that get stuck. That's not the type of person you're going to have a haunting from. Now, are they in a good realm, a peaceful realm, and can they come and visit? Well, I've heard of stuff like that. I've heard of children seeing their grandparents. One of their grandparents came in the room to say hi.
Mm-hmm.
Is that possible? Yes. I mean, I believe that these children actually do see the spirit of a loved one that came to visit with them. Is Rachel still here? I don't believe she's around the Lamb House anymore, but there's a possibility she's in a better place now, a place of peace. She let go. She was able to break loose. She got her story out, and it's possible she may come and say hi now and then. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is, it's such a big, complicated subject. There's so many different aspects of it, and the universe is so vast, we can't begin to imagine
exactly
how anything works. We can only guess.
Yeah. And and a lot of people bring up, well, how come you're not getting hauntings from way back in, 800 AD or 800 BC?
Yeah.
Why are you just getting, well, this is the thing. There was no society here on this land back then. All right. Society started here in this land in 1811. And more than likely, unless there was Indians or soldiers killed on this land, you might get something out of that. But for the most part, this town started in 1811, and that's why that there's a good chance that if you're going to get any hauntings at all, it's going to be from that date forward.
Because that's when, yeah.
I mean, I've heard of places in Britain that are, just so haunted. I mean, I've seen some of that stuff. I mean, Britain's been around a lot longer than the United States, obviously. You guys are going to have a lot more haunting encounters, paranormal encounters, than we do here in the United States, because many, many, many generations go way back to that land.
Yeah. So there's a lot more opportunity for people to have died in such ways that attribute to haunting. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way: there was a lot of persecution in Britain back in the Dark Ages. What's called the Dark Ages, where once again we're getting into religion, but a religious organization, I won't mention names, made it a law that you followed that religious organization, and if you strayed away from it, you were executed. I mean, Queen Mary, how many people did she have beheaded because?
Bloody Mary, yes.
I used to be a minister. I
Oh,
studied
right.
biblical theology, and what I've concluded, if you want to get right with God, do it on your own. You don't have to belong to any religious organization to see God. You do it on
And
your own.
nor can you buy your way kind of into heaven by belonging to a certain religion.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't belong to any church organization. I don't even go to church, but I strongly believe in God. I strongly believe in biblical teachings because it's been proven to me. I mean, I've studied the scriptures, and the scriptures have been proven to be accurate to me, but the problem is so many people interpret it different ways that it just throws all kinds of confusion out there.
That's
But
right, yeah.
point being, um, you know, when hauntings come up, I mean, these like back in Britain, I mean, there's so many people slaughtered. And you guys are going to have a lot more hauntings there than we do here. We do have hauntings here, obviously, but it seems like the state of Maine, which is, one of the New England states, I mean, once this country is founded, there's a lot of bloodshed here. And, the paranormal activity is probably a lot stronger in the New England states than it is down south in Florida or other places.
Mm.
Because a lot of people were slaughtered based on religion.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate that, most of your dark stuff that took place, from generation to generation, it all goes back to religions.
Yeah, I mean, that's just where people have kind of taken religion as a way of power as opposed to a way of understanding how life is.
Exactly. Exactly. But I don't know. But what happens on the other side? I can say this, and I got to throw this in. I know you're probably not big on the Bible, but I can say that this paranormal activity is backed by what the Bible says, and the Bible backs what is going on with this paranormal activity. I mean, it's pretty clear. I mean, even Jesus talked about those that are cast into outer darkness, when they die. And I'm hearing from spirits that are in outer darkness, and that's pretty creepy. I mean, everything backs up this paranormal activity, and that's pretty, I mean, it's creepy, but it's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So, but once again, how has this changed my outlook on the spirit world since I started all this? Well, it's increased my faith that there is life after death, no doubt. Because even though before I got into this, I was one of those that always had doubts. I mean, is God real? I mean, when you die, you really become a spirit? I mean,
yeah.
Or are you just gone? You turn into nothingness like you did before you were born.
That was my belief for many, many years. As I say, I was always scientific minded, but after the depression and everything, when I was forced to start looking at it, it's amazing how much evidence there is out there that people will just ignore,
right,
or just not know about even.
Yeah, it's changed my outlook a lot. I have no doubt life does not end at the grave, and if anything, our bodies die off, but that energy, who we are, the essence of who we are, lives on.
It's just what is that essence, and what's our experience of it, isn't it? It's the difficult one because it's something we can't answer while we're alive, unfortunately.
And I'm in no hurry to really find out either, to be honest with you.
No, neither am I. At 23, I'd like a few more years.
I mean, we're going to find out either way. I mean, we can't get out of that. We are bound to find out, but it's interesting to kind of have an idea of what we're going to face.
I mean, I've always said, a lot of people are very anti talking about death or looking at death, but I think, it's the only guaranteed experience we're all going to have. You know, when that time comes, I'd like to know where I'm going. I don't want to be worried about what's going to happen. I want to know,
right?
And I want to be prepared for it.
Well,
which is a shame, probably at 23 years old.
yeah.
But that's
Well,
life's
you know what? It's something that I think everybody should be ready for. I mean, and this is the thing: if somebody committed murder and were evil in their heart and died in that condition, some people believe, well, yeah, they're given a second chance in the spirit world where they can correct themselves and become good and move on. I don't believe that. You know, I believe that when we're alive, this is our opportunity to do it right the first time. You know, and if we can get it right, and if something goes wrong in our life and we end up becoming very evil in our intentions and in our thoughts, and we die in that condition, you know what? We're going to end up getting stuck in a dark place.
Yeah. I wouldn't probably say for eternity, as you know, many religions say. I'd say that I don't really know what I'd say. I'd say it'd be a process of growth, you know, over time. I'm sort of on the side of reincarnation. Over many, many lives, you kind of live out these experiences and get gradually more evolved over time until eventually you can get to these levels. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, there's definitely a lot of different ideas out there, but, you know, the bottom line is none of us really know. You know, I don't know. I mean, I've been around some powerful paranormal activity. I mean, these spirits actually talk to me, but I still don't know. You know, no matter what they say, you know, I mean, I can kind of piece together and get an idea of what's going on, but, you know, I couldn't exactly say what exactly. Yeah, that's about it. You know, some people have it all figured out and they know exactly what to do, but I'm like, you know what? I don't think so.
No. And it doesn't matter if you're a sheep farmer in Scandinavia somewhere, or if you're a neurobiologist in Harvard University or whatever. You have exactly the same amount of knowledge of what happens as anybody else.
You know, but you know, I've studied this paranormal activity 2 years now this month, and out of the 2 years, I've learned a lot. But wow, to explain how this is all possible, I have no explanation for
that. Yeah.
I mean,
once we figure out exactly how our oceans work, then we can start looking at the universe, because it's a huge thing.
Oh yeah, we haven't even explored our own Earth yet.
It's funny to think that probably due to the size and complexity of life, everything we currently think we know may be completely wrong. And that's quite frightening, really, to think about.
Yeah.
But fascinating at the same time.